The first thing my mother says when she sees me isn't, "I'm glad you came." It isn't, "How have you been?" It isn't even, "You look tired." She smiles at the crowd gathered around the long anniversary table, lifts her champagne glass, points directly at me and laughs. "Don't worry if Audrey leaves early. Someone always has to clean up the blood after successful people finish celebrating." The table erupts with laughter. Not nervous laughter. Real laughter. The kind that comes from people who believe they've just heard the funniest joke of the evening. My brother Logan nearly spits out his drink. His fiancée, Vanessa, covers her mouth, pretending to be embarrassed while enjoying every second of it. Even my father lowers his eyes instead of stopping her. No one notices that my phone vibrates inside my purse. For the third time in less than 5 minutes. No one notices because they're too busy enjoying my humiliation. I silence the call without looking at the screen. Tonight was supposed to be different. I promised myself I would stay through dinner. Smile. Leave quietly. Avoid another family disaster. I should have known that was impossible. Welcome to Silent Grudge Stories, where family secrets finally come to light, and those everyone underestimated finally have a voice. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments what city you're watching from. I always love seeing how far these stories travel. And if you've ever wondered what happens when the person everyone underestimated finally stops staying silent, make sure to subscribe. Because this story is only beginning. My mother clinks her fork against her wine glass. Everyone turns toward her. She loves an audience. "I just want to thank everyone for coming," she says warmly. 38 wonderful years of marriage deserve a proper celebration. Applause fills the room. Then her smile shifts toward me. "And it's especially nice that Audrey managed to make time for us." Another pause. I know emergency rooms don't usually give medals for mopping floors. More laughter. Someone at the far end of the table actually applauds the joke. I keep my expression neutral. Correcting her wouldn't matter. She knows exactly what I do. She has known for years. She simply enjoys reducing it to something small enough for everyone else to laugh at. Across the table, Logan straightens his expensive jacket. I keep telling Mom she's exaggerating. He grins. But technically she's right. He looks directly at me. "You spend your days dealing with people after their lives fall apart." He shrugs. "I spend mine preventing billion-dollar companies from falling apart." Another wave of laughter. Vanessa reaches for his hand. "That's why he's impossible to replace." Then she looks at me with practiced sympathy. "I guess every family needs someone willing to do the unpleasant jobs." The word hangs in the air. Unpleasant. Not difficult. Not important. Just unpleasant. My phone vibrates again. Longer this time. Persistent. I don't answer. The waiter begins serving the first course. Crystal glasses. Perfectly arranged plates. Everything about the evening screams elegance. Except me. At least according to my mother. She watches the servers carefully before snapping her fingers. "Audrey." I look up. "Would you mind helping them carry a few extra plates?" Several guests glance toward me. One woman whispers something to her husband. He smiles. My mother notices. "Oh, don't misunderstand." She laughs. She's used to carrying much heavier things at work. More laughter. For a brief second, one of the waiters looks uncomfortable. He quietly says, "It's all right, ma'am. We've got it." Before I can respond, my mother waves him away. "Nonsense." Then she smiles directly at me. "Go on. It's practically your field." I stand. Not because she ordered me to. Because arguing would only give her another scene to enjoy. As I pick up 2 serving trays, Logan raises his glass. "See." He laughs. Still the most helpful sibling. I walk toward the kitchen while conversations restart behind me. Every step reminds me why I stopped coming to family gatherings years ago. Nothing changes. Only the jokes become more creative. Inside the kitchen, one of the younger servers quietly apologizes. "I'm sorry. You shouldn't have been asked to do that." I simply smile. "It's all right." He's wrong. It isn't all right. But he doesn't deserve to carry that burden too. I place the trays on the counter. My phone vibrates again. This time I finally look. 7 missed calls. 3 messages. All from the hospital. My stomach tightens. Not because hospitals call. They always call. Because they never call me this many times, unless something has gone terribly wrong. Before I can unlock the screen, the kitchen television suddenly interrupts its cooking program. Breaking news. The volume is low. No one is really paying attention. The headline flashes for only a second. Major multi-vehicle collision, multiple critical victims, emergency trauma teams activated. Every cook freezes. Every nurse's instinct inside me comes alive at once. One of the servers looks toward me. "Weren't you saying you work in trauma?" I don't answer immediately. Instead, I finally open the first message. Only 6 words appear on the screen. "We need you. Right now." My heartbeat accelerates. Another message arrives before I can even process the first. No one else can do this. For one brief second, I forget where I am. The laughter, the music, the anniversary banners, the smell of expensive food drifting in from the ballroom. None of it exists anymore. My world narrows to 6 words glowing on my phone. "We need you. Right now." Every instinct I've trained for over the last 15 years tells me the same thing. Someone is dying. The second message appears before I even finish reading the first. ETA 6 minutes. Massive blood loss. Then another. Chief requests you personally. Not the trauma team. Not the department. Me. The young waiter watches my face lose its color. "Is everything okay?" I force a calm smile that fools no one. "I have to leave." He nods immediately. "You don't have to explain." I wish the people outside understood emergencies that easily. As I step back toward the dining room, the applause erupts again. My mother is introducing Logan to another group of guests. Our son just closed the biggest case of his career. Everyone gathers around him. Phones come out. Pictures. Congratulations. Proud smiles. For a moment, nobody notices me walking toward the exit. I almost make it. Almost. "Audrey." My mother's voice slices through the room. Every conversation stops. She smiles sweetly. The dangerous smile. "Where exactly do you think you're going?" I stop walking. "My hospital needs me." She laughs, as if I've just delivered another joke. Of course they do. Several guests chuckle with her. She turns toward the room. "You see. I told everyone." She always has an excuse whenever family comes first. I inhale slowly. This isn't about explaining myself. It never has been. I have an emergency surgery. Logan checks his watch dramatically. On a Saturday night. He grins. That's convenient. More laughter. Vanessa crosses her arms. I honestly don't understand hospitals anymore. She tilts her head. Can't someone else handle it for once? Before I can answer, my phone rings again. The vibration echoes loudly against the silent room. My mother looks directly at it, then at me. "Oh, for heaven's sake." She walks closer. Without asking, she reaches for my phone. I pull it back before she can touch it. Her smile disappears for half a second. Just enough for me to see the irritation beneath it. "So now you're hiding secrets from your own family?" "No. I just don't let anyone touch my patients." The room goes quiet. She laughs again, trying to recover control. "Patience? Oh, Audrey." She shakes her head. "You always make yourself sound much more important than you are." Another guest joins in. "I thought emergency rooms had dozens of doctors." "They do. So why would everything depend on one person?" Several people nod. Exactly the reaction my mother wanted. She doesn't need to insult me herself anymore. She lets the room do it. My phone rings again. The caller ID flashes across the screen. Dr. Samuel Pierce. He never calls unless every other option has already failed. I answer immediately. "I have less than 30 seconds, I say quietly. His voice is calmer than I've ever heard it, which scares me more than panic would. "They're bringing in 2 patients." I close my eyes. 2. "We can stabilize 1. A pause. "The other." Another pause. "Won't survive unless you're here before they reach the operating room." The ballroom disappears around me. "When?" "4 minutes." "I'll be there." He doesn't say goodbye. He simply hangs up. Because every second matters now. I slide my phone into my pocket. "I'm leaving." My mother steps directly in front of the door. No. The word is soft. Controlled. Calculated. You leave now. She looks around the room. And don't bother coming to another family celebration. Silence. Complete silence. Even the musicians stop playing. She thinks she's won. She believes I've reached the point where guilt will keep me here. She has no idea guilt stopped controlling me years ago. I understand. I move toward the entrance. She blocks me again. You really choose strangers over your own mother? I meet her eyes. No. I choose the people who still have a chance to go home. For the first time all evening, she has no immediate response. Only anger. Raw anger. Logan steps beside her. You know what's funny? His voice is louder now. So many people save lives every day. Firefighters. Police officers. Soldiers. But somehow Audrey always acts like she's carrying the entire world by herself. He laughs. I think she enjoys the attention. Several guests nod. One even whispers. That's probably true. I don't defend myself. I don't need to. Because none of them know what is waiting for me. Vanessa suddenly smiles. Oh, before you go. She grabs a linen napkin from the table. There. She points toward my shoulder. You've got a little sauce on your jacket. I glance down. Nothing. When I look back up, she's already laughing. So easy. I knew you'd check. The table bursts into laughter again. A childish prank. Pointless, but perfectly timed. Another reminder that, in their eyes, I will always be the family joke. My mother folds her arms, satisfied. See, you don't belong in operating rooms. You belong exactly where you've always been, cleaning up after everyone else's success. I stare at her for one final second, not with anger, with something far worse. Acceptance. I finally understand that no achievement will ever be enough for this family. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Without another word, I walk past her. This time she doesn't stop me. She simply raises her voice so the entire room can hear. Don't come asking for forgiveness later. I never turn around. Outside, the cold air hits my face. An ambulance screams past the intersection. Its lights paint the street red and blue. Almost instinctively, I start running toward my car. My phone vibrates once more. A single new message from Dr. Pierce appears. I read it while unlocking the door. My hands freeze on the handle. The patient's family is refusing every surgeon except you. The message stays on my screen long after the traffic light turns green. The patient's family is refusing every surgeon except you. That has never happened before. Patients ask for specialists. Families ask for experience. They don't ask for one specific trauma surgeon in the middle of a mass casualty event. Something about this doesn't make sense. I press the accelerator. The city blurs past my windshield as sirens echo from every direction. Dispatch radios overlap through the emergency frequency in my car. Multiple critical injuries. Crushed vehicles. Entrapments. 2 helicopters already diverted. This isn't an ordinary night. Halfway there, my phone rings again. Dr. Samuel Pierce. I'll be inside in 3 minutes. Make it 2. The line goes silent. No explanation. No details. Only urgency. That tells me everything I need to know. The emergency entrance is chaos before I even step out of the car. Ambulances line up one behind another. Paramedics sprint through the sliding doors. Another bad sign. As the elevator doors close, he hands me a tablet. Only 2 patient files appear. Not 12, not 20, just 2. Patient 1, female. Multiple internal injuries. Massive hemorrhage. Severe thoracic trauma. Patient 2, male. Blunt head trauma. Crushed pelvis. Cardiac instability. I keep reading. Then something catches my attention. Both names are blacked out. I look at the resident. Why are the identities restricted? He hesitates. I wasn't told. That's impossible. Medical records don't disappear without a reason. Unless someone ordered them to. The elevator opens. The trauma bay explodes into motion. Nurses rush between stations. Blood coolers arrive one after another. Respiratory therapists prepare ventilators. Every monitor seems to be screaming. Dr. Samuel Pierce stands in the center of the room, completely still. He doesn't waste words. He never does. You made good time. What aren't you telling me? Instead of answering, he hands me 2 X-rays. I study them for less than 5 seconds. My stomach tightens. Patient 1's lungs are collapsing. Patient 2 has injuries that should already have been fatal. Either surgery alone would demand an entire team's attention. Together, they're almost impossible. Who's leading the second room? Silence. I already know the answer before he speaks. No one. I look up. What do you mean, no one? We don't have another surgeon with your level of trauma experience available. For the first time that night, I feel something dangerously close to fear. Not for myself, for whichever patient I don't choose first. A nurse rushes toward us. They're arriving. Every conversation stops. The ambulance doors burst open. Patient 1 comes in first. The paramedics are pumping blood manually as they run. Pressure dropping. No pulse in the left leg. Chest tube failed. The bed flies past me toward operating room 3. 30 seconds later, the second ambulance arrives. Even before the doors open, I hear someone shouting from inside. Stay with us. Look at me. Don't close your eyes. Patient 2 is younger than I expected. His face is almost unrecognizable beneath the blood. One medic keeps compressing his chest while another squeezes blood bags as fast as humanly possible. Every monitor screams. The hallway becomes a race against seconds. Both stretchers stop. Both teams look at me, waiting. Not for instructions, for a decision. Which patient lives first? The clock on the wall keeps moving. Every second I hesitate. Someone loses blood. Someone loses oxygen. Someone loses another chance. Dr. Pierce quietly steps beside me. I'll support whichever room you choose. He doesn't tell me which patient matters more. He doesn't influence me, because that's my responsibility. I close my eyes for 1 heartbeat. Then I open the first chart again. A detail jumps off the screen. Patient 1. Rare blood type. Almost no compatible units left in storage. Before I can process that, another nurse rushes into the hallway. Doctor. She lowers her voice. The patient's family just arrived. Which one? She points toward the waiting area. They're refusing consent from everyone. They said. She swallows. They've trusted only one surgeon for years. My chest tightens. Did they give a name? The nurse nods slowly. They asked for Audrey Whitaker. Dr. Pierce watches my expression carefully. You know them. It's not a question. It's a realization. I stare through the glass doors, separating the trauma unit from the waiting area. Several figures stand outside. I can't make out their faces. Only silhouettes. One elderly woman keeps pacing. A younger man argues with security. Another person clutches something tightly against their chest. Not paperwork. A photograph. My heartbeat slows instead of speeding up, because suddenly, I recognize that photo. I've seen it before. Years ago. On another night. Inside another operating room. And in that instant, I realize this isn't the first time our lives have crossed. It's the second. I know that photograph. Not because I remember the faces. Because I remember the night. Rain pouring, so hard the ambulance bay had flooded. A teenage girl trapped inside a crushed vehicle. A father refusing to leave the operating room doors. A grandmother praying out loud in the hallway. I spent 11 straight hours fighting to keep that girl alive. When she finally opened her eyes 3 days later, her family had cried harder than she did. I never forgot them. Not because they thanked me. Because before they left, the grandmother had held my hands and whispered something I still carried with me. One day, we'll never be able to repay you. At the time, I smiled politely. People say things like that after surviving tragedy. Most never cross your path again. I never expected to see that same family standing outside another operating room years later. Especially not tonight. Especially not after everything my own family had just said about me. A nurse breaks my thoughts. They're asking if you'll speak with them before surgery. I can't. That's what I told them. She hesitates. They said they'll wait. No panic. No demands. Just complete faith. A kind of faith that feels heavier than pressure. because now I know exactly what's at stake. I look toward operating room 3. Patient 1's blood pressure crashes again. Another alarm erupts. Then another. A resident rushes out. We're losing her. Across the hall, patient 2 goes into another unstable rhythm. 2 operating rooms. 2 lives. 1 decision. Dr. Samuel Pierce quietly studies both monitors. He doesn't rush me. He never has. Instead, he asks one simple question. Which patient dies first if you choose the other? That's the only question that matters. Not status. Not influence. Not recognition. Medicine has never cared who someone is. Only how much time they have left. I answer without looking away from the monitors. Patient 1. He nods once. I agree. The decision is made. Prep operating room 3. The entire trauma team explodes into motion. As I'm scrubbing in, another resident catches up to me. Doctor, what is it? The patient's family asked me to give you this. He hands me a folded piece of paper. Not an envelope. Not legal documents. Just a handwritten note. I almost hand it back. Then I notice the handwriting. It's shaky. Uneven. Elderly. I unfold it. Only one sentence. You saved our daughter once. Please don't let us lose her mother today. I close my eyes for exactly 1 second, then fold the note and place it inside my scrub pocket. No speech. No dramatic promise. Only one quiet thought. I'll do everything I can. The operating room doors close behind me. The outside world disappears. Family. Humiliation. The anniversary dinner. None of it matters here. Inside these walls, there are no favorite children. No cruel jokes. No applause for appearances. Only skill. Preparation. Choices. The anesthesiologist looks at me. She's crashing. I know. The monitors tell the rest of the story. Heart rate climbing. Pressure collapsing. Internal bleeding spreading faster than expected. A younger surgeon stands across the table. Nervous. Talented. Still waiting for instructions. I don't waste a second. Open. The first incision is made. Blood appears immediately. Too much. Suction. Another pair of hands moves instantly. Retractor. More bleeding. Wider. Every command comes faster than the last. The room falls into complete rhythm. No shouting. No panic. Only precision. Outside. Another alarm sounds somewhere down the hallway. Patient 2. Still waiting. Still fighting. I don't ask. If I divide my attention now, both patients lose. 10 minutes pass. Then 15. The bleeding slows. For exactly 6 seconds. Then everything changes. The monitor screams. Pressure's falling. Source. I can't see it. I lean closer. There. Hidden beneath damaged tissue. A tear no scan could have fully revealed. Small. Deadly. One wrong movement. And she dies on this table. The younger surgeon whispers. I've never seen one like that. Neither have most trauma surgeons. Which explains why every extra minute mattered. I reach for a different instrument. No. I hand it back. This one. He looks confused. Trust me. He does. The room falls silent again. Every pair of eyes follows my hands. Millimeter by millimeter. The bleeding begins to slow. Then stop. No one celebrates. Not yet. Because trauma surgery punishes confidence. The anesthesiologist finally looks up from the monitor. We've got pressure. A nurse quietly exhales. Someone else mutters. She's coming back. Not safe. Not yet. But alive. For now. Then the operating room phone rings. No one answers. It rings again. Dr. Pierce steps inside. His face is unreadable. I'll be quick. I don't stop working. What happened? He lowers his voice. The second patient just coded. Every movement around the table freezes for half a heartbeat. He was revived. Relief doesn't come. Because Dr. Pierce isn't finished. He won't survive another arrest. I continue repairing the final vessel. When? No one knows. Silence. The room understands exactly what that means. The clock is no longer our biggest enemy. Fate is. Dr. Pierce turns to leave, then pauses at the doorway. The family outside. They're still refusing to leave. They said if anyone can save both patients, it's you. The door closes again. I don't respond. Because deep down, I'm beginning to fear they expect something no surgeon on earth can promise. And for the first time that night, I wonder if saving one life will force me to lose the other. I don't have the luxury of thinking about the second patient. Not yet. The woman on my table is still one mistake away from dying. Every movement has to be perfect. The bleeding finally slows to a trickle, but another monitor starts chirping before anyone can relax. Her oxygen saturation drops. 83. The anesthesiologist adjusts the ventilator. 80. A nurse looks at me. We're losing her lungs. No, not her lungs. Something else. I replay the CT scan in my mind. Every fracture, every shadow, every abnormal angle. Then I see it, not on the monitor, in my memory. There. I point deeper inside the chest cavity. Move the light. The resident shifts it. Nothing. More. Still nothing. Then, a tiny stream of blood appears between two crushed ribs. Hidden. Almost invisible. If we'd closed her chest, she would have bled to death within the hour. The resident stares at it. How did you even? I've seen this once before. Not here. Years ago. Another patient. Another impossible night. No more explanations. Suction. Another clamp. Another stitch. Another minute stolen back from death. The oxygen begins climbing. 84. 88. 92. No one speaks. The silence says enough. She's still with us. Outside the operating room. The world refuses to slow down. Dr. Samuel Pierce walks straight into the family waiting area. The elderly woman rises before he says a word. Is Audrey with her? Yes. The woman closes her eyes in relief. I knew she'd choose my daughter. A younger man beside her clenches his fists. What about my father? Dr. Pierce doesn't lie. Another team is fighting for him. The man's expression falls. But not Audrey. No. The hallway becomes painfully quiet. The younger man nods once. Not because he's satisfied, because somewhere deep inside, he already expected that answer. I told Dad. His voice cracks. I told him she'd save Mom first. The elderly woman gently squeezes his arm. Your father would have wanted the same thing. Across the hall. Patient 2 crashes again. Another code. More alarms. More people running. One resident attempts another emergency procedure. It fails. Another surgeon takes over. He shakes his head before anyone even asks. We're running out of options. A nurse whispers, Should we call Dr. Whitaker? Dr. Pierce answers immediately. No. The resident looks stunned. But he might die. Dr. Pierce doesn't raise his voice. If she leaves now, they both die. No one argues. Because they all know he's right. Inside my operating room, the bleeding finally stops. For the first time in almost an hour, every monitor stabilizes. Heart rate, blood pressure, oxygen, not normal, but survivable. The circulating nurse quietly exhales. I think. I interrupt gently. Don't say it. She nods. Superstition exists in every operating room. The moment someone says we've won, something usually goes wrong. I continue closing, layer by layer, steady, focused, until another nurse walks in carrying fresh blood units. Her face looks different, paler. She avoids eye contact. What happened? She hesitates. The press is outside. I barely react. They're always outside. Not like this. She swallows. They know who's here. The room pauses. Even I look up. They shouldn't. No. They shouldn't. Another strange detail. Someone leaked information. During an act of trauma. That almost never happens. Unless the patient is extraordinarily important. I finally ask the question everyone has been avoiding. Who is she? The nurse looks toward Dr. Pierce. He says nothing, which means she's allowed to answer. She lowers her voice. I can't confirm officially, but security believes she's the wife of Senator Richard Ellison. The room freezes, not because of politics, because suddenly, Everything makes sense. The restricted identities, the media, the security, the pressure, the additional blood supply arriving without delay. The second patient must be the senator himself. I look back at my patient. None of that changes anything. She's still just a woman fighting to stay alive. No title matters on this table. Only her heartbeat. The surgery ends. I remove my gloves. Every muscle in my back screams the moment adrenaline begins fading. The anesthesiologist smiles for the first time all night. You got her back. No. I glance toward the monitors. She got herself back. As I step outside the operating room, the family stands waiting. The elderly woman recognizes me immediately. Tears fill her eyes. Without saying a word, she reaches into her purse. For one strange second, I think she's looking for tissues. Instead, she pulls out an old photograph. Edges worn, corners bent. She places it in my hands. It's the picture taken the day her teenage daughter left the hospital years ago. I'm standing awkwardly beside her, still wearing scrubs, still exhausted, still trying to avoid the camera. The grandmother smiles through tears. I kept this because my granddaughter told me something. I look at the photo. What did she say? She said, if I was ever dying, I wanted the same doctor. Emotion tightens my throat before I can answer. Then, every television in the waiting area suddenly switches to breaking news. A reporter appears live outside the hospital. The condition of Senator Richard Ellison remains unknown. Family stop talking. Doctors stop walking. Even security turns toward the screen. The reporter continues. Sources tell us the senator's surgical team is still unable to control the internal injuries. I feel every eye in the hallway slowly turn toward me. Then the camera shows the hospital entrance. And standing there, surrounded by reporters, is someone I never expected to see again tonight. My mother, smiling, giving an interview about me. For a second, I think exhaustion is making me hallucinate, but every television in the waiting area is showing the same live broadcast. The same microphone, the same crowd, and standing in the middle of it is my mother. Less than an hour ago, she was telling an entire room that I spent my life cleaning up after successful people. Now she's smiling for every camera pointed at her. Audrey has always been incredibly dedicated. I don't even blink. The words sound foreign coming from her. A reporter leans closer. So you've always known your daughter would become one of the country's top trauma surgeons? She nods without hesitation. Oh, absolutely. My husband and I always encouraged her. Another lie. Another effortless lie. The grandmother beside me looks at the screen, then slowly looks back at me, confused. Is that your mother? I nod once. The older woman studies my face instead of the television. You don't look surprised. I'm not. She doesn't ask another question. Some truths don't need explanations. Across the hallway, several nurses exchange uncomfortable glances. They heard everything. Some of them had watched me arrive after leaving my family celebration. Now they're watching the same family rewrite history on live television. A younger resident mutters under his breath, "That's unbelievable." Dr. Samuel Pierce answers quietly, "No, it's predictable." He doesn't sound angry, only disappointed. He has met enough families to know exactly how some people behave when recognition suddenly becomes valuable. Another reporter speaks into the microphone. We've also learned that Dr. Audrey Whitaker was called in personally tonight. My mother smiles proudly. That's because she inherited determination from me. For the first time all night, something inside me almost breaks. Not because of the lie, because she's stealing a story she spent decades trying to destroy. I spent years proving myself to spite her. Now she wants to become part of the ending. The waiting room television suddenly changes camera angles. Behind my mother, I recognize another familiar face. Logan. Perfect suit, perfect smile, talking comfortably with reporters as if this entire night belongs to him too. One journalist asks, "Your sister must make your family incredibly proud." Logan laughs modestly. "She's talented, but we've always pushed each other." Another lie, another effortless performance. He conveniently forgets the jokes, the insults, the years of telling everyone my career was second-rate. Security suddenly enters the waiting area. They're trying to get inside. Dr. Pierce looks up. Who? The family. They're insisting they should be with Dr. Whitaker. The elderly grandmother immediately steps aside. They're not her family. Security frowns. They're saying they're immediate relatives. They are. I answer calmly. But they're not here for me. Everyone understands exactly what I mean. Before anyone can react further, another alarm echoes down the hallway. Patient 2. Again. A nurse runs toward us. He's crashing. Dr. Pierce is already moving. He turns to me. Can you walk? I can run. We don't waste another second. Operating room 5 is nothing like the one I just left. People are talking over each other. Blood covers the floor beneath the operating table. One surgeon compresses the senator's abdomen with both hands. Another tries desperately to control the bleeding. No one looks confident anymore. The lead surgeon sees me enter. Relief floods his face. I've done everything I can. He doesn't sound ashamed, only exhausted. I study the monitors. Heart rate collapsing. Pressure nearly gone. Another arrest is seconds away. What happened? The pelvic vessel tore completely. He points toward the surgical field. I can't reach it. I step closer. One look. That's all it takes. Not because I'm smarter. Because I spent years studying exactly this type of injury after losing a patient early in my career. One death. One mistake. One lesson I promise never to repeat. I quietly hold out my hand. Clamp. Someone places it in my palm. No. The smaller one. The room changes instantly. Nobody questions me. Nobody talks. They simply follow. I lean farther over the table. The angle is almost impossible. Every second feels longer than the last. Then, I see it, hidden behind shattered tissue. Barely visible. Exactly where I feared it would be. There. The lead surgeon whispers. I never would have found that. You weren't supposed to. I don't say it to humiliate him. Only because the injury isn't where textbooks teach you to look. I slide the clamp carefully into position. 1 millimeter too deep, and the artery tears apart. 1 millimeter too shallow, and he bleeds to death. The room becomes perfectly silent. Then, the bleeding slows. A nurse looks at the suction canister. It stopped. Nobody celebrates. Not yet. I repair the vessel. Slowly, carefully. Every stitch feels like another negotiation with death. Finally, the monitor beeps differently. Stronger, steadier. The anesthesiologist looks up. We've got pressure. Another pause. Then, he's back. A quiet wave of relief moves through the room. No cheering. No applause. Just professionals silently acknowledging that someone has been given another chance. I remove my gloves. The lead surgeon steps toward me. I owe you one. You don't. You would have done the same. He shakes his head. No. I would have accepted losing him. You didn't. The words hang between us. Not because they're praise. Because they're true. As I step out of the operating room, the hallway is completely different. More security. More cameras. More officials. But none of them catch my attention. I stop because I hear a familiar voice shouting my name. Audrey. My mother. She has somehow forced her way past the first security checkpoint. She's smiling, crying, performing. She rushes toward me with both arms open, as dozens of cameras immediately turn in our direction. And before I can even step back, she says loudly enough for every microphone to hear, "Come here, sweetheart. Mom is so proud of you." My mother throws her arms around me before I have the chance to step away. The cameras love it. Flashes explode from every direction. Reporters immediately move closer, convinced they're about to capture the perfect family moment. A devoted mother, a heroic daughter, a reunion after a miracle. None of them know the truth. My mother squeezes me tighter and whispers through her smile. Don't embarrass me. Now don't embarrass yourself. Me. Even now, this is still about her. I gently remove her hands from my shoulders. Not violently, not dramatically, simply enough to create distance. The movement is small, but every camera catches it. The smile on her face flickers for less than a second. She recovers quickly. She's always been good at performing. Audrey has been working so hard for years, she tells the reporters. We've always reminded her that helping people is life's greatest calling. Another lie. A complete rewrite of my childhood. One reporter turns toward me. Dr. Whitaker, your mother says your family has always supported your career. Would you like to say something? Every microphone points toward me. The hallway becomes silent. Even the nurses stop walking. They're waiting for a confrontation, an accusation, a speech. I don't give them one. I need to check on my patients. That's all I say. Then I start walking. The silence that follows hurts my mother far more than any argument could have. Because for the first time, she isn't controlling the story. A reporter notices it immediately. Mrs. Whitaker, why didn't your daughter answer your question? My mother laughs nervously. Oh, she's exhausted. She's always been shy. Another lie. Another desperate attempt to stay in control. Logan steps forward before another question can be asked. My sister isn't comfortable with attention. The irony almost makes one of the residents laugh. Comfortable with attention. The same sister they mocked all evening for pretending her job mattered? A journalist tilts her head. So your family must have been worried when she left your anniversary celebration. My mother's expression freezes. Only for a heartbeat. Then she smiles again. She left because we encouraged her to go. Another lie. One of the trauma nurses standing behind me quietly whispers, "That's not what happened." Another nurse nods. Half the emergency department watched me arrive. They saw my face. They saw the missed calls. Several even heard me tell Dr. Pierce I had left a family celebration. The truth already exists inside these walls. It doesn't need to be defended. 20 minutes later, patient 1 is stable in intensive care. Patient 2 is out of immediate danger. Both families are finally breathing again. I finish reviewing the last scans when someone knocks gently on the consultation room door. The elderly grandmother steps inside. She isn't crying anymore. She's smiling. My daughter asked me to give you something. She places a small envelope on the table. I can't accept gifts. I know. It isn't one. After she leaves, I open it. Inside is only a folded piece of notebook paper. Childlike handwriting. Different from the note I received before surgery. I unfold it carefully. It reads, "Dear Dr. Audrey, Mom says I almost died when I was 15. I don't remember much. But I remember waking up and seeing someone wearing blue scrubs telling me I could be scared later because first we had to get me home. I'm alive because you kept your promise. Tonight you saved my mom. Thank you for giving me my family twice. No signature is necessary. I know exactly who wrote it. For the first time all night, my eyes begin to burn. Not because someone thanked me. Because someone remembered. Not the surgery. Not the headlines. A single sentence spoken to a frightened teenager years ago. Sometimes, those are the moments that stay with people forever. A soft knock interrupts my thoughts. Dr. Samuel Pierce enters. You finally sat down. Barely. He notices the letter. He doesn't ask to read it. Instead, he sits across from me. You know what they'll remember tomorrow. The surgeries? He shakes his head. No. They'll remember the cameras. I already know where this conversation is going. They're going to turn tonight into a story. They already have. He slides his tablet across the desk. News headlines are multiplying by the minute. Hero surgeon saves senator and wife. Trauma specialist called in during family event. Doctor who refused to give up. Then another article appears. One that makes my stomach tighten. The accompanying photo shows my mother hugging me. The headline reads, Proud parents reveal the sacrifices they made to help their daughter succeed. I stare at it. Not angry. Just tired. Dr. Pierce watches my reaction. Is any of it true? I answer honestly. No. He nods once. I didn't think so. He stands. Then pauses at the door. You know, I've watched hundreds of surgeons save lives. But very few survive families determined to erase who they really are. After he leaves, I continue staring at the article. Every lie spreads faster than the truth. Every interview paints my mother as the reason I succeeded. And I realize something that scares me more than either surgery tonight. She isn't finished. Now that the world finally sees value in my career, she's going to try claiming ownership of my entire life. My phone vibrates. Unknown number. I almost ignore it. Then a voicemail notification appears before the phone stops ringing. I press play. A calm female voice speaks. Dr. Whitaker, this is Senator Ellison's chief of staff. The senator asked me to personally invite you to tomorrow morning's press conference. I assume it's about the surgeries. Then she says one final sentence. The senator wants to publicly tell everyone what really happened tonight, including what your family tried to do before you arrived. I don't answer the voicemail immediately. Instead, I replay the last sentence, including what your family tried to do before you arrived. My thumb freezes over the screen. I never told anyone what happened at the anniversary dinner. Not Dr. Pierce, not the nurses, not the senator's family, not a single person. So how could they possibly know? A soft knock interrupts my thoughts. Dr. Samuel Pierce steps back into the consultation room. They're ready. For what? The senator wants to see you. The intensive care floor is strangely quiet. Security lines both sides of the hallway, but the frantic energy from earlier has disappeared. Inside the room, Senator Richard Ellison is awake. Weak, pale, but alive. His wife rests in the neighboring recovery suite. The elderly grandmother smiles the moment she sees me. So you kept another promise. I smile back. It was a team effort. She shakes her head gently. No. It started because you refused to give up. The senator motions for everyone else to step back. When the room empties, only he, his wife, Dr. Pierce, and I remain. I owe you my life. You don't owe me anything. I do. He pauses, studying me carefully. Do you know why my family refused every other surgeon? I assumed they remembered years ago. They did, but that's only half of it. He reaches toward the bedside table. His chief of staff hands him a tablet. One touch, and a surveillance video begins playing. I immediately recognize the restaurant. My mother's anniversary dinner. My stomach tightens. The camera angle comes from the private dining room ceiling. No sound at first. Only images. Me carrying serving trays. Guests laughing. My mother pointing toward me. Logan raising his glass. Vanessa pretending to wipe something off my jacket. Every humiliation. Captured. Every second. The senator watches my face. My security team was having dinner in the private room next door. I look at him. They witnessed everything. He nods. When the accident happened, they saw you leave. They also saw your family try to stop you. The room falls silent. Dr. Pierce slowly exhales. He finally understands how the senator's office knew. The senator continues. My lead security officer followed because he thought someone was filming you. He arrived here before the ambulances. He told me exactly what happened while they were trying to stabilize me. I don't know what to say. Not because I'm embarrassed. Because the truth reached someone before the lies did. The senator leans back carefully. My communications team wanted to publish that video immediately. I told them no. I look up. Why? Because tonight wasn't about exposing your family. It was about saving lives. He smiles faintly. But tomorrow, people deserve the truth. The next morning, every major news outlet gathers inside the hospital auditorium. Doctors, hospital administrators, medical staff, security, reporters, cameras, hundreds of people. I stand near the back, wishing I could disappear. My mother has very different plans. She walks confidently through the crowd wearing the same elegant smile she practiced yesterday. Logan follows beside her. Vanessa trails just behind, greeting reporters as if they belong there. One journalist immediately approaches my mother. Mrs. Whitaker, how does it feel knowing your daughter saved 2 lives? She places a hand dramatically over her heart. We always taught Audrey that character matters more than success. Another lie. One more performance. She doesn't know the press conference has already changed. The hospital director welcomes everyone, then steps aside. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Ellison would like to begin. The senator slowly walks to the podium. The room erupts into applause. He waits for silence. Yesterday, many people called Dr. Audrey Whitaker a hero. He looks toward me. I agree. Another round of applause. But there is something else you deserve to know. My mother straightens proudly, probably expecting another compliment. Instead, the large screen behind the podium lights up. The restaurant security footage appears. No narration, no dramatic music, no editing. Just the truth. My mother mocking my career. Guests laughing. Logan comparing himself to me. Vanessa humiliating me. My mother blocking the exit. My phone ringing over and over. Me saying, I choose the people who still have a chance to go home. The entire auditorium becomes silent. No whispers. No movement. Nothing. The video ends. The senator speaks again. Those 6 minutes. The 6 minutes this doctor spent being mocked for trying to leave. Nearly cost my wife her life. No one looks at me anymore. Every eye turns toward my family. My mother's face has completely lost its color. Logan stares at the floor. Vanessa quietly steps backward, trying to disappear into the crowd. The senator isn't finished. I've met many accomplished people. Lawyers, executives, politicians. But yesterday, the only title that mattered was doctor. He steps away from the podium, then unexpectedly walks toward me. Not for a handshake. He simply says quietly enough that only those nearby can hear. Thank you for ignoring the people who never believed in you. He turns back toward the audience. Dr. Whitaker, would you join me? I hesitate, then walk to the stage. The applause begins slowly. One person, then another, then dozens. Soon, the entire auditorium is standing. Doctors, nurses, paramedics, hospital staff, even reporters. Not because of headlines, not because of politics, because they know what those 6 lost minutes could have meant. I don't search for my family, but I see them anyway. My mother tries to approach after the conference ends. For the first time in my life, she doesn't look powerful. She looks frightened. Audrey, I can explain. I stop walking. Not because I need answers, because I want her to hear mine. You spent years telling people my job was cleaning up after successful people. I meet her eyes. You were right. She blinks, confused. I do clean up after people. I let the silence settle. I clean up after drunk drivers, after shattered families, after impossible accidents, after the worst day of someone's life. But yesterday, I also cleaned up after yours. She opens her mouth. Nothing comes out. There won't be another conversation after this. No holidays. No interviews. No pretending. You lost the right to call yourself my biggest supporter the moment you tried to stop me from saving someone else's mother. I walk away before she can answer. Not because I'm angry. Because I'm finally free. A week later, both patients leave the hospital together. The teenage girl I once saved pushes her mother's wheelchair through the front entrance. 3 generations. Walking out. Together. Before leaving, the grandmother hugs me one last time. You gave us our family back. I smile. No. You kept it together. As they disappear into the sunlight, my pager vibrates again. Another trauma. Another family. Another life hanging by a thread. I turn toward the emergency department without looking back. Because somewhere, someone is waiting for the doctor my mother was always ashamed of, and that's exactly where I belong.